Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. How many of you have ever been in that situation? How many of you even understand that statement? That phrase goes all the way back to the 16th century when there was two different churches going to be built. I won't get into the real nitty-gritty details of researching that phrase today, where if you were literally giving money to one church, you were robbing from the other church, right? That's basically what it boiled down to. In today's day and age, it basically means you take from one person or thing to give to another, especially when it results in the elimination of one debt by incurring another. So think about this. How many of you have had a credit card and literally use that to pay off another credit card? You'll get that notice in the mail. Now it's email or whatever the case may be. I've utilized them over my life, where you literally do a balance transfer from one credit card to the other, and they give you 6 months or a year of zero interest, and you use that one debt to pay off and eliminate the other debt, because the other debt is at a really high interest rate, and you figure that you have breathing room. So robbing Peter to pay Paul. I've done that many times. I've done it as well in my lifetime using lines of credit. Using one line of credit to make payments on credit cards and other lines of credit, making payments out of it with a mortgage for the mortgage part of me, and then turn around the next month and go the opposite way, robbing Peter to pay Paul, back and forth, just like bouncing a ping pong back and forth on a table, just in order to survive, right? And unfortunately, there's people out there, though, that go back and forth, and they'll get those deals where they can get a line of credit at really cheap rates, or they'll get a credit card balance transfer opportunity where they can pay off one credit card and transfer that balance. And then some people are, honestly, I'm not even going to say that they're ignorant, they're stupid, and they go out and because they should know better, and they'll go rack that credit card up again. And I'm talking from real life example. I've seen it happen with my clients, realizing that I'm in financial education, financial planning. So I'm talking the truth, and I've seen the reality of it. And then eventually people keep on trying to get out of that circumstance to eventually they destroy their credit rating. They can't get any more credit products. Then they look at Consumer Proposal and they whine and complain and blame everybody else for their circumstance. Because in most cases, when people get to that situation, it's because they aren't supporting their family or trying to survive. In my case, it's exactly what I was doing. In most cases where people get their back against the wall and they're going from one credit product to another, it's because they're going out and doing stupid things. They're overspending at Christmas time. They're overspending on their vacations and, I'll deal with this after the fact. So they have a couple weeks of good happiness at Christmas or on a vacation, and then they have that debt looming over them, and they don't have enough income coming in to pay that debt, right? Have I been there? Absolutely. But it was not in the same circumstances I'm talking about. For me, it was just supporting my family, trying to make ends meet. Single dad, 5 kids, trying to pay the bills. There was many times where I had more month than money, and I had to rob Peter to pay Paul. It got so bad at one point in time in the 2000s that I literally had people bring me food, drop off food at my house. Didn't ask him for it. All of a sudden, ding dong, couple bags of groceries here. The wife made you this casserole. Here's some frozen stuff that she made extra when she's been cooking the last 2 weeks so you can feed the kids and you this weekend. I'll never forget that. That was like the most shocking moment in my life, the most humbling moment, right? Talk about being vulnerable. I'm telling you, this has happened to me. Everything I communicate about, 99% of the time, I've lived it, right? Are you living it? Are you robbing Peter to pay Paul? Are you doing it because you're supporting your family? I can get on board and help you with that circumstance, and with some budgeting, hopefully get you under, your situation under control. Obviously, if you've been cut back, if you in your job or career, or maybe you've lost your job and taken a huge decrease in income, and your lifestyle was at a certain level and you got all that debt because of that lifestyle, I get it. But the biggest thing that kills people is pride. I've had clients that were making 140, 150, 200,000 a year, and the oil crash of the industry, the energy industry crashed in 2015 in North America, many places in the world, but it really, it hits more to home when I think about North America, because that's my stomping ground. I live in North America, right? My US friends had a crash in the oil industry. My Canadian friends did in 2015. It affected my industry, just like COVID's affecting it now, big time. And people basically, because of their pride, were still trying to live like they were making that $150, 200,000. In reality, many of them were living off their savings, their pensions, or they found another job where they were making 2/3, if they were lucky, of the same income. I had clients like that, yet they were still living the same lifestyle. They were still trying to put up the facade of the fact that they weren't hurting, that they had that level of income. And I've seen people climb into the rabbit hole, circling the drain, and literally destroy their lives. And no matter how much I sit and educated them or helped them try to, say, hey, let's do a budget, let's figure this out, you're going to have to cut back on how you live, people wouldn't listen. And in some cases, when they were making that excellent income, and it could even be somebody that's making 80,000 a year and drop down to 40 or 50, the same thing happens. You just live, when you make more, you live at a higher level of broke. And that's basically what happens. And, it just is such a terrible thing. And I was listening to somebody today talk about that. And I was listening to a podcast today that communicated about that, where you literally are, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're struggling to try to keep your head above water. Yet one of the things that hurts a lot of people, again, is pride, not looking and seeking out help. Number one. Number two, trying to live at the same lifestyle with the same income, imaginary income now, and digging themselves farther, not wanting to admit to their significant other that things are as bad as they are, because one of the broken things in a lot of relationships is that there's lack of communication between spouses in regards to finances and money. Doesn't mean both people have to do the budget. It means one takes responsibility and both communicate about it. No decisions happen unless both agree to it. And you literally see in black and white, this is what our income used to be. This is what our income is now. And we need to put on the brakes. We need to figure this out, and we need to do this now before we lose everything. And I'm telling you right now, in the next 6 to 9 months, the bankruptcy rate in North America, I'm not worrying about the rest of the world. I'm worrying about my brothers and sisters south of us. I'm worried about Canadians, obviously. There's going to be an uptick in mortgage defaults, lines of credit defaults. There's going to be a huge amount of vehicles that are basically repoed, and the list goes on. You know what? If you're a person listening to me and you even have a little bit of a fear, you got that pit right here, you got it in your stomach, wherever the case may be, you're living in quiet desperation, it may not be too late. Maybe we can help. Maybe I can help, right? You need to be vulnerable. You need to reach out. If you need help, don't be afraid to ask. I'm not going to judge. Most of the people you reach out to aren't going to judge, because anybody that's worth their weight in salt is basically, if they're good at their job, they have a passion for it, have lived it. Not like these jokers that try coaching and mentoring others that have never lived the reality of what they're trying to teach or help people out with. I am telling you, I'm real. I've been there. I've helped others. How did you think I got where I am? Is because of the nights of quiet desperation, and I don't want you to live that. So if you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, you're desperate and you want to know what to do, what the next steps are, you want to be lifted up, you don't want to be judged, reach out, DM me. Right? We can jump on a Zoom call. We can jump on a phone call. We can, if you want to do it initially through messaging, that's fine too, because I know pride is tough, right? People's pride holds them back, stops them from being humble and vulnerable. But I'm here to tell you, no judgment. Let's get at her. Let's get things together. Let's find out if your circumstances are as bad as you think they are. They might not be. You might be living in quiet desperation when there's a simple fix, and that's knowing the black and white of where you're at. I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow. God bless you all. Peace out and stay safe.